before we even go further, and people will ask you after this seminar, did you learn anything about IP or intellectual property? Then at least after today, hopefully, I'll bring it to you. A brief history of inventions. Ever since the day that our forefathers made the wheel or started the fire, it's an invention. And if you go to any library, you can look at invention books, how to do invention of this, invention of that. And there was hardly any protection all this while. But when was the first law that actually came into being to protect your invention? That was in Venice in the year 1473. There is an act which says that if you've got an invention, we give you a right over it for 10 years. So that was the first law actually implemented, giving you a certain period of time to look after your invention. But previous to that, England have their so-called letters of patents. Then they give you a monopoly over your invention, but no period. So it started off with John Cam and all the others in the 1300s. But then once Venice said, I give you 10 years. Then France follows suit, England follows suit. So carry on until we have today a standard practice throughout the world of 20 years of protection. Similarly for copyright, you write a book, what is the number of years for protection? When did it all start? So it all started in the many years ago. Copyright Act was under the Ends Act in the 1600s in England, giving you the 50 years of protection. But if you talk about trademark, even longer. In the old days, even if you make a coin, you have to have a chop on it. So you, let's say in Rome, you have a chop on it. In China, you have a chop on it, all the different dynasties. So all these are trademarks. And you actually come into the first law that make it into legal. You recognize trademark was in the 1200s in England for bakers. So when I sell a piece of bread, on the bread, I have a chop on the side of the bread. That means people know that this comes from my bakery. So then we started to protect each other on trademark, giving you 10 years protection or whatever number of years. But all these are just old laws, but people needed protection. Otherwise, if I invent something or have a trademark something, then everybody will just copy it. So what happened was, we have the laws to protect each other. But in reality, IP rights actually developed around the 20th century or end of the 19th century when people started to go into inventions seriously. So in the beginning of the 20th century, there were only about 100 odd patents in America, very simple ones. But by the end of the 20th century, in New York itself, in America itself, for the patent office, they are giving out over 1,000 patents per year. So afterwards, you can see what grow, why 200 to 200,000. And in the old days, only a few countries like England, America have some patents. But now the rest of the world have patents after patents. If you follow me, then we will have go through it. Then, if we talk about advancement of the country, the GNP, is there any core relationship between a country which is very inventive, innovative, and the GNP? You know, in China, we had many good inventions. We had paper, we had firework, we had compass, and all that, but we never really commercialized it. But the Westerners did. For example, talking about cannons. China had firepower, and did we do anything about it? Not really. We just go throw some stones and then hit the wall. That's about it. For hundreds of years or thousands of years. But the Mongolians took some Chinese engineers, go with them, and improve the cannons. And then they destroyed all those cities that they went into Europe and all that. But once they attacked Europe and the Mongolians left, the Europeans looked at the cannons and they designed better cannons from it. But then when you make it bigger and bigger, it's very difficult to handle, because if you have a lot of firepower inside there, it will crack. Then some people say, how do we improve the strength of the cannon? Then some smart guy said, there are some skill in Germany. where the cannon get very strong. So they went to check, and then one Englishman, and then see, this is interesting. Check the iron, and they found that there's manganese mixed with the iron. So in England, he went back there, and then he told all the foundries there, and said, I can make your iron very, very strong, provided you give me a royalty. So they said, okay, fine, we do that. So what he did was, he just go and take some mixture of manganese without telling the iron smith what they're doing. Throw the manganese in there. What the manganese does is, it just coagulates with all the sulfur and all the other impurities and flow on top. So you skim it off, and the iron become purer. So it become purer, then you mix steel out of it. Then it will crack. So that's how the steel industry developed in England. And then from on, they have a big artery. But China never did anything. India never did anything. So the British, with their strong cannons, they become a force to reckon with. They started the British Empire. Very, very simple, but that is what we call influence. But England became very rich because of military might, but other countries did not. When England was going through the so-called Industrial Revolution, the Chinese, most of us are Chinese, that's why I speak Chinese, were still peasants. We were all still in the agricultural age. Chinamen like us, my forefathers, were all coolies. And if those who were educated, they were only educated in the Confucius classics. So we were never really taught about innovation, invention, commercialization of invention. And even until today, I laugh about our eating habit. If you go to China today, everybody eat instant noodles. Okay? Instant noodle. But if you ask who invented the instant noodle, everybody will tell you that a Japanese guy in Osaka did it in 1958. But in reality, the Japanese guy copied from the Chinese Yi Fu where in the old days, if you remember the story, people having birthday, they carry the noodles to a Chinese home there. But this family is a rich family. So everybody gave him noodles, what to do with the noodles. So what he decided was too much noodle, you will spoil, I'll deep fry it, and then I will give it away to the people, and they will keep it. So it became very popular. So this Japanese went to China, eat this noodle, this is very good. So he went back to Japan, created a system, cook all the noodles first, pack it individually, and he called it Japanese instant ramen noodle. And it became the biggest company. But I said, but this is our invention. But the Chinese now are adopting the Japanese system of doing it. I have visited so many instant noodle factories because I'm involved in this line of business. That's why, if you're interested, I will give you another lecture on how to make instant noodle. But basically, Japan went with the invention. China invented it, but we did nothing. You can still go out to our market and still can buy the yin, but it's not commercialized. And you are not going to make millions out of it. And it's not convenient. You need a backpack. Why? Innovation. But China is now catching up, of course, I'll show you. So, you look at that. People are moving. Japanese are moving very fast. Koreans are moving very fast. Singapore are moving. So you can see the GNP all very, very much related to patents and inventions. So once you have this sort of awareness, then everybody started to follow the bandwagon. Last time only 200 patents, but now become millions of patents. So that's where today we're talking about how this culture actually developed. And it will develop and it will be even bigger. Okay, now we talk about innovation. Who is the most innovative country in the world? If you look at the latest government ranking, by World Intellectual Property Organization, the first three countries are the 3S: Switzerland, Sweden, and Singapore. Singapore is number 3. Malaysia is down there somewhere in the list. Those here, one I can give to you. Above Qatar. But never mind. But we are above Indonesia. If there's any comfort to you. But you look at that. for the top 10 countries, you are Finland, UK, Netherlands, Denmark, Hong Kong, Ireland, and the United States. Then follow down Luxembourg, Canada, New Zealand, Norway, Germany. But Hong Kong is listed there. So in the top 10, we have Singapore and Hong Kong. Now you are wondering, how does Hong Kong come into the picture? Why is Hong Kong very innovative? I go to Hong Kong regularly. I just talk to Wisdom, I go there. And every time I go there, I marvel at how innovative the Hong Kong people are. Do you know that just to go into the MRT in Hong Kong, the it's the cheapest in the world. How many of you go to Hong Kong use the MRT? You've never been to Hong Kong. It's even better than the Singapore MRT. I just hop in any train station I can drop off in Shenzhen. And yet it's so cheap. But now you'll be wondering, why is it so cheap? What is the trick? Hong Kong is a country where everything is privatized. So if you go there, you go to the Behati Zaman, the MRT station, it's actually a commercial center. Over the station, you do not realize that it's a station. It's a shopping center. It's a housing estate. It's a commercial complex. It's an office block. And they are getting revenue from all these properties, which is sitting right on top of their underground station. And because of this, they can use it in a way of course synergy, subsidize all the management of the underground. And that's very, very good. Because people say that, wow, so cheap to use the underground, so I go in there. But why you go in there? Oh, there's a shop here, I buy. Or there's some place that I buy this and that. Or, since the MRT is so convenient, I live on top there. There's so many apartments for sale and all that. So it becomes an ecosystem of its own. And extremely creative. As a Malaysian, I go to Hong Kong 3 times, they will give me a special pass. I don't need to show my passport anymore. It's just a credit card. I just go to customs, then click, I'm in. It's all connected into the internet. But Malaysia will never let you do that. People carry a credit card to China and Hong Kong. Not possible. I bring machines to China to do them all. China will strip it apart and all sorts of bureaucracy. But Hong Kong, free. You can bring anything in, you can bring anything out. And best of all, I form a company in Hong Kong, 100% Winston Wong. I go to Singapore, 50% Winston Wong plus my cousin in Singapore. You understand what I mean? From Malaysia different. But Hong Kong is 100%. So free. I find Hong Kong is the most innovative. So if you ask me to rank, of course I rank Hong Kong before Singapore. But this is called creativity. But in Malaysia, our LRT not connected. I think LRT, it's really very sad, I go to Shanghai, at any point in Shanghai, I just pay 6 renminbi. I go to the airport, Shanghai airport already. 6 renminbi is 3 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit. Here, I have to show my pass, get like 35 ringgit to take a train. It's very tough, and I can't get anywhere. I go everywhere. But anyway, this is what's called innovation countries. You go to New Zealand. I was from New Zealand just now, I said. I'm very, very much in touch with their IP, all that. And they're very, very creative. And I try to market their product, and you'll be seeing their products. For example, in terms of electrical items for induction, for current, all that, they are very, very, very good. So anyway, we just go on.